Hi, folks. Good evening, shall I say? I just thought I'd come on and talk about. I was listening to Rob Moore earlier, and he was Rob Moore from Progressive. I don't know if some of you may know him, some of you won't. He's a multi-millionaire, and he owns part owner of Progressive Property, Disruptive Media, Rob.team. Sorry, it's Money.school now. It's not Rob.team. Just remember that, Rob, if you're watching. And Rob was talking about the biggest rip-offs, or the biggest rip-off for tax in history being the raising of national insurance. Now, while I do think it's a rip-off, I don't think it's the biggest at the moment. Okay, there's two other candidates. The first one I'll come to isn't the main one, but the first one I'll come to, and maybe it should be the main one, but it's not the main one to me. The first one I'll come to is the freezing of the tax threshold by the former Tory government and the failure to unfreeze it by the Labour government. Now, currently it stands, I think it's 12,600 personal allowance, which means you can earn that much before you start paying tax. Now, most pensions, saying most, are under that limit, so you don't pay tax on them. But because they've frozen the tax threshold, it means some pensions over the next 3 years, because they're not going to look at this till 2028, and then they've only said we'll raise it in line with inflation. Not saying whether it's going to be the cumulative line of inflation over the next 3 years or just that year's inflation. Watch the specs. So because they haven't unfrozen that, raised the limit, it means pensioners whose pensions gradually improve over time with inflation, some of them will be dragged into paying tax on their pensions. Is that right? I don't think it is right. So this is money they've paid tax on already. It's been through the books, and they're expected to pay tax again on it. Is it fair? No, people have worked all their life for a pension. It isn't fair at all. But for me, that's not the biggest scandal. The biggest scandal is where you're paying tax on tax. So let me explain this. For me, the biggest one is the pump price of petrol and diesel. So petrol and diesel, you have your pump price, your wholesale price, etc., and then obviously the distributor puts their bit of money on it. And at the pump, there is fuel duty of 52.95 pence per litre. Okay? So bear that in mind, and that is added to the price that the companies are charging for the petrol or diesel. Now, on top of that, you then pay VAT not just on the pump price, not just on the price of the fuel itself, but on the fuel duty as well. So they're charging you 20% on top of 52.95 of what is essentially tax. So they're taxing you on tax. Now, for me, that's the biggest rip-off. So go and check it. I'm looking at the Office of Budgetary. I can't remember the damn name. Hang on. I'm looking at the OBR, which is the Office of Budgetary Responsibilities at the moment, and it's on their website. So just type in fuel duties, you'll come up with it, and that's what's happening. So you're paying another over 10 pence a litre in tax on the tax. Now, if that's not the biggest rip-off for anyone, I don't know, because between the two, the income tax threshold and the land and taxing you on tax, they're two massive rip-offs. So what can you do about it? Well, not a lot, unless you're in government and you can vote against it. So what you can do is learn more about money. So I'd recommend you have a look at the link below in the comments, and it's the Moneymaker Summit that Rob runs down in Peterborough, and I think he does one in London as well, where you get different experts come along and tell you how to manage money, how to be creative, how to save money, etc. They advise on investment. Not sure the cost. I think it's about £30 to do it, £36 for 3 days. So that's 3 days of education on money. So you've got to arrange your own accommodation and you've got to drive there. But you get 3 days of education on money for about £36. I think that's amazing value for money. So have a look at the link below. Have a think about it. If it suits you, great. I'm going down the end of April for one. Might see you there. So have a look at these links. See what you think. That's all from me. Have a great day.